Hello, my name is Evan, and this is Flow into Yoga, a gentle restorative class. And tonight we're going to be working on stretching through the hamstrings and the hips and the low back and the shoulders. And I did not email those of you who are with me that we are going to be using tonight a strap. This strap that I have is actually an old belt. So if you don't have a strap with you and it's inconvenient to grab, then no problem. We'll be able to make do without it. You can also probably use like a shirt or a sweater that you might have near you. And yeah, so we'll just use that a little bit, but you can make do without it as well. So we're going to start in our seat tonight. And just beginning to ground into our bodies, into the earth, and just finding a strong posture. So find your place, and you'll see that I have two blocks underneath me tonight so that there's not too much bend in my knees. You can also find a cross-legged position, maybe putting a block or pillow underneath you there. And then you can either keep your eyes closed, gaze softly on the ground below you, or maybe you can begin to flutter your eyes shut. And if it feels needed in your body, you might take a few cleansing breaths. In through the nose, audible release. Do that as many times as you need to formally arrive. Palms can be placed down in your lap for extra grounding effect. And we're going to use this seated posture, which is ideally tall and long through the spine, as a way to practice bringing the breath into different spaces in the body. And so we did this a few weeks ago, but we're going to go a little bit deeper with it. So before we get started, I want you to just check in with the shoulders, allow the shoulder blades to melt down the back, away from the ears. Check in with the back of the neck, seeing that it's lengthened, so gently tucking the chin towards the chest. Enough to find a straight line from the tailbone all the way up to the crown of the head. And imagine that there's a string at the center of your chest, guiding your chest forward and up. So opening through your posture by finding that link through the chest, rather than tying the shoulder blades together, which can actually create more strain, unnecessary strain. I want you to begin to bring your awareness to your low belly, and just take one round of breath in the lowest of your belly, right around your navel. Just keep it there if possible. And then bring your awareness to your ribs. Take one round of breath just through the ribs, staying in the front of the body. Bring your awareness to your chest, your heart space. Keep the belly out of it. Take one round of breath through the chest. Then, for the fun part, bring your awareness to the front of your face. More like towards around the forehead and this space where the face connects to the hairline. And take one round of breath in that space. Seeing if you can feel an opening and releasing sensation around the eyes and forehead. And then come around to the back, bringing the awareness around the tailbone and the hips. So leaving the breath out of the front of the body. Take a round of breath just in that space around the hips. Noticing that it requires a sense of concentration. And then focus on the area in the back of the ribs. Take a breath there. Expand those ribs with the inhale. Watch them come back together on the exhale. And then to the space between the shoulder blades. Breathe in there. And then the back of the head. Take your breath into that space. Good. And now I want you to bring your awareness to your left side. So your left lung, left ribs, maybe even the left hip. Take a breath into that left side. Fill that left lung. Maybe you even feel yourself slightly leaning towards the right as that breath fills more and more in the left. And then release it. Bring your awareness to the right. Really concentrate on that right side. As you take a breath in, feeling the whole right side of the body fill with air. And then let it go. And come back to a few rounds of natural breath. And as you do so, I want you to keep your awareness now on all of those spaces. Combine all of those spaces from the right and left side to the hips and the navel, both sides of the ribs, the chest and the shoulders, the face and the head and the scalp. And next time you need to take a breath in. Allow that to come from the very bottom and rise all the way up like you're filling up a glass of crystal clear water, all the way to the top. Once you get there, hold at the top, squeeze in the muscles at the pelvic floor, squeeze navel to spine, sip in a little bit more air. When it's time to let it go from the mouth. Let the body be heavy into the seat. And we'll do that again. Take a sip in slowly from the bottom and watch it rise up, up, up. Once you get to the top, hold, squeeze in those muscles around the core. Sip in a little bit more. When it's time to let go, just let it go. Everything. Next time you breathe in, lift the arms out and up. On the exhale, fingertips touch the earth, chin to the chest. 2 more times. Keep breathing through the whole torso of the body. Filling up every part of that vessel. Next time arms come up, bring the palms together at the top, hands down to heart center. If there is an intention that you would like to guide your practice, or maybe if you did the new moon practice with me last week and you would like to hold that visualization of what you would like to see in your life for the next month. I invite you to see that now, feel it now. And then slowly open your eyes. If they're closed, take your time to come back to your senses. And we'll come through in our hands and knees. If you have sensitive knees, place a blanket or a pillow or something underneath there. And we will just find a few rounds of cat-cow. Using the inhale to lift the gaze up, lower the belly towards the ground. And the exhale to push the earth away, round through the spine. Really exaggerate that rounding. Continue that. As you round the spine, imagine you're lifting the ceiling up with the space between the shoulder blades and around the ribs. Next time you find that round hold there, begin to shift the hips back, but keep the chin tucked in towards the chest. Keep about 6 inches between hips and feet. You'll notice a deeper stretch in between the shoulder blades and the low back. Send 3 breaths to the spaces that feel this stretch the most. Visualize your breath going there and allow it to. And then we'll slowly come back through, walk your hands forward. About 6 inches, we'll find barrel rolls. Let the hips drop to the left, and then back, and then around to the right and forward. Keep doing that. I'm gonna turn some light on, so it's a little bit brighter in here. You might notice some cracking and popping around the hips. That's your body's way of letting go of what it doesn't need. Breathe into it. And again, allow that release to happen. You might decide that you want to pause with your hips forward in a gentle cobra position. And eventually, we'll begin to move into the other direction. Breathing out of the mouth is a really good way to release emotional or mental stresses that may arise, which is a very common thing to happen when we give our body the opportunity to let go. Again, you might pause for a moment in a cobra position if that feels good. And we'll find a child's pose. If you have been having low back pain, I recommend keeping your knees together and allowing the belly to just rest on the thighs. You might stack one fist on top of the other and rest your forehead. You might use a block. If you'd rather open through the hips, wide knee, big toes together. Send your breath into the back of the heart. Feel that heart space expand and see if you could sip in just a little bit more air. And then when you let go, let your heart space melt down towards the earth. And do that 2 more times. Filling up through the whole back of the heart, feeling the shoulder blades expand. Let that melt, that heart melt down. Once again. Good. Begin to walk your hands to the right side of the mat, stretching through the left side. If you'd like a deeper stretch, you can place the left hand on top of the right hand. Feel the whole left side of the body expanding and contracting. And you might even try to allow the breath to come from the left hip, filling up the vessel like a cup of water, all the way up to the left shoulder, maybe even the left fingertips, and then releasing just the way it came in, as if you're drinking down that cold, clean water. Take one more big round of breath in that left side. And then take a full breath in. Use your exhale to walk back to the center and just be here for a moment. Recenter. And then take a breath in. On your next exhale, walk to the left. Do that same thing with the breath. So I had someone tell me the other day about a time that one of his first times that he took a yoga class, and it was a heated class. And at the end of it, during Shavasana, he had tears and came from nowhere. And he was ashamed of that. He wasn't used to just crying so suddenly for no reason at all. And so that allowed a really nice conversation to come out that is normal. So often in the movement throughout life, our bodies are held so tightly, and we don't even know. And that tightness, that tension, that can build up over a whole lifetime if we don't consciously choose practices that allow us to let that stuff go. And so when we take the time, it can be shocking. It can feel very unexpected. And so just remember that and give yourself grace and love and compassion. If you find in these types of practices that like some real stuff comes up for you, know that you're okay and just breathe into it, just like you do in the physical body. On your next exhale, we'll begin to walk back into the center. And then come onto your belly and we'll release from those knees. Stack one hand on top of the other, rest your forehead on the palm. Let the toes drop in, heels to drop out. Let the legs and the feet and the buttocks relax. And then let the hips rock side to side. Good. And then we'll find a cobra flow. You'll see I'm a little more energized tonight than often. So if you're not feeling this energy, take the stillness that you need. I'm going to find the flow with the hands on the outside of the mat, fingertips pointing out. We're going to lift up, bend, straightening the elbows as you lift your head up. Now, if you find that's too much on the low back, walk your hands more out and forward. Then you'll release from the heart, let the forehead tap the earth. Inhale, lift up in the back of the heart, head follows. Exhale, release down. Continue that. Let the breath move you. Inhaling to rise. Exhaling to gracefully release. So speaking of cobra, My friend today here, right in South Carolina, here just an hour away in Holly Hill, she saw a snake in her farm area right around the corn. It was probably about 6 feet. She showed me the picture of it. About 6 feet long, and probably the center of it was thicker than my fist. And you could tell that it had been eating a lot because it had a lot of like little bumps. Just a fun random story that there are actually snakes that big around here. Once you get up to cobra, you can hold it, breathing into the front of the body, relaxing the shoulders. But I guess this story should have a lesson. So the lesson is watch out for where you're walking. Don't be blind when you're moving on a trail, literally or figuratively. Hold that for as long as feels right. Or release with me if you'd like. This time, let one cheek come to the mat. And just breathe, just be here with the body heavy. Allowing time to process what you just experienced. And then one more time, we'll come up into a cobra. You can choose to find stillness. You can also choose to find a sphinx, which is on your forearms. And then if you're staying in stillness rather than fluidly moving, you might choose to bend one foot, one knee, foot towards the buttocks, and then release it with the exhale. And bend the opposite knee on the inhale, releasing it with the exhale. And if as you do that, it feels nice on the quads and hip flexors, but too much on the low back, walk the hands forward a little bit. If you find while you're on your wrist like this that it's too much on the wrist, use the fingertips. Grip the ground as if they're paws that you're using. So staying out of those wrists as much as possible. And then if you're bending the knees and you think you can manage it, you might try bending both, tying the big toes together, looking forward, or maybe the gaze comes up. Allow a softness in the elbows. Keep the shoulders relaxed. Maybe wiggle the jaw a little bit, checking that you're not holding there. And then take a big breath in. On the exhale, release. Opposite cheek to the mat. Windshield wiper the feet side to side. And then release the feet down. We'll rise back up onto our knees, but we won't be here very long. But we are going to sit onto our heels. And so some of us, that's too much in the fascia of the feet. So you could take a block under the tailbone. Or you can just stay lifted with the hips. So choose your medicine. And breathe into the feet. And as you do that, I'll give you some options. You can sit in stillness and just feel what you feel. Rotate the wrist. Or if you'd like to open more through the shoulders, you can lift your arms up with the inhale and then cactus the arms with the exhale. Think about tying the shoulder blades together. So take your pick. Remember that wherever you choose, because you chose that, it is the perfect place to be. See if you can take just 3 more breaths. Only 3. And then we'll release it. Here's the fun part. When you release it, tap the tops of the feet to the mat. Feels so good for me. You might even notice as you do that the subtle massage rises all the way up into the shins. Good. And then we'll come onto our backs. So y'all go ahead there. Onto your back. And check that your strap is handy. We're going to come to that in a moment. And if you have blocks, keep them up towards you as well. Or pillows can work. Bring the soles of the feet to the mat as you bend your knees. We'll find a little bridge flow. If you're not into the whole flow business tonight, then just bring a block underneath your hips and just hang out there. For the rest of us, we will first start to just inhale and lift the hips up towards the sky. And as you exhale, release all the way down 1 vertebrae at a time. Really let that tailbone release fully. Inhaling, pausing at the top of the inhale. And exhale, slowly let it go. Pausing at the bottom. Enough to feel that you've arrived. Keep moving. Sometimes when I'm doing things like this in my personal practice, I play with how long I can hold the pause. And then 2, how long I can, how many counts I can breathe in and breathe out. Trying to keep them, that inhale and exhale, as even as possible. Next time you lift up, lift your arms up and out so that the arms are along the ears. Exhale, hips and hands release down. Continue for 5 more rounds. Keep the thighs actively tightened towards each other while keeping the knees where they are. And then lift up, hold the arms up along the ears. Or you can choose to clasp the hands underneath you and pull the shoulder blades more in together. Take 5 breaths here. Eyes are closed, or if they're open, you might just watch the breath move through the belly. So believe it or not, back bends like this are actually very helpful for the low back. Slowly release yourself down. Of course, as long as we don't overdo it. Spread the feet wide, let the knees drop in towards each other, hands to the low belly. Let the hips sink down. And then find your strap and place it near the heel of the right foot. If you don't have a strap, just clasp your hands around the hamstring and push the heel up towards the ceiling as if you're pushing into a strap. And all of us, no matter if you're strapped or hands on the hamstrings, we're just going to bend our knee on the inhale and straighten it on the exhale. That left knee can be bent, or maybe you extend the leg out if you'd like to find a stretch in that left hip flexor. Do that one more time. Then once you find a straight knee, hold that. Okay, I'm going to give you a lot to think about right now, so pay attention. Your right hip might be jutting up towards your right shoulder. I want you to see if you can shift the right hip towards the left foot. What that's going to do is have your knee rotate subtly towards the right shoulder. And as you do that, it's not a lifting, it's just a subtle shift. You'll find a deeper stretch in the hamstring, as well as that right IT band, without having to yank your right leg towards your chest. So it's not about the big movements. Breathe into those spaces. Keep the back of the neck long. Ask yourself where you can soften. Maybe it's in the grip. It helps sometimes to wrap the strap around the hands. Take a breath in and bring the strap into the right hand. On your exhale, open the right leg out to the right side. Keep pushing through the right heel. Keep the left hip heavy, so you can keep your left hand on the left hip. You can also bend the left knee and let it drop to the left. That helps to kind of keep balance. Don't let yourself go too far here, only going just to that first stretch edge. Because if you go off the edge, well, no, that's not good. We don't want to go off the edge. We're going to stay right in a place where we can see the scenery, appreciate it, and really be with it. Take one more breath. And then on the inhale, come back to the center. This time, take the strap in the left hand. And if you don't have a strap, that's okay. You can just let the right leg go across the body. We're just finding a supine twist, but it's nice. It's a different kind of opening if you have the strap. Let the right hand be in line with the right shoulder and push through that right heel. Shift the big toe down so that it's facing to the ground. You'll notice a deeper stretch through the glute and the IT band as you do that. So this one is actually one of my favorite postures because it just gets into so many spaces. The obvious around the legs and the hips, also in the front of the shoulder. And so it's going to be good for our posture. And then there's a twist through the navel, which is good for digestion. You get almost all the pieces. Just a few more rounds of breath. Inhale to lift up. Exhale to gently release. Before you go to the other side, take time to notice and processing what you've just experienced. Allow whatever sensations have arisen to fully release. You might notice that that right leg feels just a little bit longer than the left. What I love about this kind of class is that there's no rush to get anywhere. So when you're ready, the other side. Doesn't it just sometimes feel like life off the mat? It's just a constant rush. So that we're always focusing on where we're going to end up or what we're going to accomplish rather than the actual momentum of getting there. Go ahead and bend and straighten the knee a few times. So a regular yoga practice or any kind of exercise that allows you to find that sense of presence, that sense of being. Is truly crucial. Crucial to staying aware and alert to your surroundings. Pause with the leg extended. Push through the left heel. Notice what the left hip is doing. See if you can shift the left hip forward, away from that left shoulder. And if you can't quite get that, you don't know what I'm talking about, it'll do almost just as well if you just shift the left knee so that it's facing kind of towards the left of the left shoulder. So the knee and the left toes towards the left corner of the room. Strap in the left hand. Slowly open that left leg out. Again, if you don't have a strap and you're flexible enough to grab the big toe with the index and middle finger, you might try that. Keep that right hip heavy. It just ensures that you don't go too far. Letting your body be your guide. When you're ready, back to the center. Strap in the right hand. I like to shift my hips to the left, as it just gives the spine a little more room to find the twist. You can do that too. Left hand in line with the left shoulder. Shift, this time shifting the toes and the knee down towards the ground. And so when we're tight in our hamstrings and our hips, that ends up pulling around the back, which usually starts, of course, in the low back. And a common misconception is that we just want to stretch those areas to release the low back. And actually, we need to simultaneously strengthen and stretch them equally. And that will actually, in that balance, will bring more openness and fluidity around the hip area and the low back area. So the part of our body that holds us the majority of our life, whether we're sitting or standing. It's very important that we stay mindful of what's happening in those spaces in our body. On the inhale, come back to the center and then release. See if your legs are back to even. We'll place our right ankle over the left thigh for thread the needle. Option one is going to be just to place a block or pillow under the left foot and just hang out here, aiming to guide the right knee towards the left foot. Option two would be to clasp the hand behind the left hamstring and breathe in. Breathing through the right hip. Now, option three. If you have plow in your practice, if you don't know what that is, then that probably means that you don't, and I'd say just stay in two. But if you have plow in your practice and you'd like to take this into plow by lifting the hips up and letting the knees drop back towards the head, walking your shoulder blades together, you might find that. Only if it feels like something that's available to you. If you're straining to get into that position, please don't go there. If you get there and you're straining to breathe, please come out of it. If your hips are up, slowly, gently release. Watch the block that might be underneath you. And then we'll all release both feet down to the ground. Take a moment of pause. And then windshield wiper the knees side to side. And transition to the other side with the left ankle over the right thigh. Block under the right foot maybe. Hanging out here. Breathe and being here. This is a perfect place to be. As is lifting that leg up, clasping the hands around the right hamstring. You might find that you'd like to rotate the ankle. Check in with the muscles around the face. The eyebrows are soft. The jaw muscles are soft. Maybe even a part of the lips. And then choose if you'd like to lift the hips up for a plow. And if you're in that plow, just make sure there's a little bit of space in the back of your neck. So you're not crunching into that area. Notice how with time you can soften and drop deeper without even trying. When it's time to come out, do so with ease. And again, just pause for a moment. And then rotate the knee or windshield wiper the knees or anything else that feels inviting to you right now. And then we'll find the posture that I've been most eager to come to before Shavasana, and that is supported fish pose. You can use a big pillow or you can use 2 blocks. I'm using blocks, so one in between my shoulder blades, one behind the head. If you'd like to open through the front of the throat, you can leave the block behind the head. So take your time to get position here. Allow the palms to face up. The legs can be long, or you can place feet together, knees apart, if you'd like. The wider you open the arms, the deeper of a stretch you'll find through the front delts and throughout the chest. As you widen them, you might find you want to reposition your block. That's okay. Make yourself comfortable. This is our final position before Shavasana, so we'll be here for a few moments. If you set an intention for your practice or for your month ahead, this is a good time to come back to that, to check in with it and maybe see what else you feel around that intention. Not searching for answers or thoughts, but rather following the heart. Let the lips part. Allow the tip of the tongue to rest on the roof of the mouth, right behind the teeth. Allow any hold you may still have on the face just to release. Allowing the face to be heavy. Finding its most natural form. You can stay here for Shavasana. You're going to come back to your awareness, but keep the breath soft. So stay where you are while coming back to that consciousness, that part of you that knows and trusts, loves. As your breath deepens, allow it to fill those spaces of you. Down to your very core. As you continue to awaken with subtle movement of the body, awaken and continue to know those truths. And trust in your direction. Roll to the left side, cradling the head with the arm, pulling the knees up towards the chest. The fetal pose. Signifying a rebirth. Fresh start. Push yourself up to a comfortable seat. And bring palms together at heart center, Anjali Mudra. We're going to seal our practice with one round of Om because it feels right tonight. You can say it aloud with me or just keep it internally. So we'll take a big breath in. Exhale for Om. Inhale, arms lift out and out. Palms together at the top. Exhale, thumb knuckles to the third eye for peace in the mind. Thumb knuckles to the lips for peace in the words. Thumb knuckles to the chest for peace in the heart. I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. I'm grateful for you sharing your presence and your energy with me tonight and with this community that we have here. I'm grateful for the connection and communication that I've had with each one of you. So, as always, the light in me honors and bows to the light within you. Namaste. Thank you all. Thank you so much. So you know where to find me. You can email me at flowintoyogallc@gmail.com, or there's also my website. Same thing, except for it's .offeringtree.com. So thank you so much, and reach out if you ever need anything. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you.